Demise of HARO. HARO, the link building platform.
Started by Peter Shankman, free way to connect experts with journalists. It got hijacked by SEOs.
And I think that's when their business started to suffer as well.
Pay-to-play model couldn't stop the amount of spam.
HARO actually died a while back and moved to Connectly. It was really hard to stand out.
Biggest, most well-known provider of this ability to connect with journalists. There are still plenty of opportunities out there. Why they've just made the decision to shut it down.
If you're not going to respond quickly, it's probably not worth doing. All right, so today we are talking about the demise of HARO. HARO, the beloved digital
Funeral
PR
flowers
link building platform, which really obviously didn't start digital PR, but it started this whole like subspace. I think a lot of SEOs never paid attention to digital PR, and HARO was sort of their gateway drug into digital PR. So HARO calling it quits, closing its doors, pretty big deal, yeah?
Yeah, it's been nuts, yeah. So started by Peter Shankman 15 years ago as just
who we've had on the podcast,
who we had on the show.
An awesome guy.
Yeah, started out as like a free way to connect experts with journalists. Probably the first way that you could engage the media as like a small business owner, as an individual. And it took off. It got hijacked by SEOs because obviously it was a way to get links. And then it got bought out. And it's been I'd say a slow death. Would you agree? From its heyday?
Yeah, a bit of a roller coaster, I think. We all knew about it like a long time ago, long before it really got popular. And there was talk about how you could build links from it, but not that many people were doing it. I think it was really when helpful content updates, some of these link spam updates came out, that people really started to focus on building better links. Before that, because when we started on the platform, it was really uncompetitive. It was really easy. Like we had a really great win percentage, tons and tons of links. And then it starts to get popular, starts to get more competitive. And then AI tools came out, and that's when it kind of went downhill, I think. And I think that's when their business started to suffer as well.
Yeah. And I think they did the right thing in terms of trying to weed out the AI spam, which was obviously affecting the way that the service operated. So they went to a pay-to-play model, albeit, not very expensive, but probably enough to weed out the people that were just completely spamming the platform. But I think as a business model, they had two sides of a coin to look after. They had the journalists on the one side who want to receive good quality pitches, and then the experts and the sources who are providing the pitches. So I think from the journalists that we've spoken to, that they didn't like the move to the new platform. They want to be in their inboxes. That's what journalists are used to. They want to be in an inbox. They want to be handling emails, looking through emails. But obviously, keeping the old email system meant that they couldn't really stop the amount of spam hitting the journalists' inboxes. So they moved to a sort of quite a clunky UI dashboard-based system. So it didn't work in the same way. They're probably still getting spam. And the journalists, we've seen a fall in the quality and the breadth and depth of publications being available on the platform. And also there are many other places now where the journalists can go to post their expert source requests. And there are many places where people can go and look to see these. So other platforms and journalists are more and more using social media platforms like X and Threads. So yeah,
I think the pay-to-play platform Connectively, and it's actually funny that HARO itself died out and became Connectively, and a lot of people never even realized that. It was still HARO's the de facto term. So I think that's going to be, a lot of people are like, oh my God, HARO's dead. They never realized that HARO actually died a while back and moved to Connectively. For us, Connectively was, I think, better than the old HARO, at least win rate wise. Our win rate had really gone down once AI tools came out. Journalists were just getting spammed to death. It was really hard to stand out. And then when it moved to the pay to play method, it cost per pitch. It weeded out a lot of the spam. Clearly they were still having issues, but for us, the win rate went back up. It wasn't to where the heyday when it was less competitive, but it was still a platform worth pitching on that we were doing well. So yeah, now seeing that's going to close, December 9th, I think, was it the last day?
Yeah.
So we'll watch to see where journalists will go. I think a lot are going to go to SOS, Peter Shankman's new platform, which he built specifically to address the complaints that journalists had about HARO. I think a lot of journalists will go there, but there's some other great platforms that we use, like Press Plugs, Editorial, Response Source. I think a lot of journalists will go there. Quoted is another one that's quite popular. And then some maybe will rely more on Twitter, but I would imagine they're still going to be posting them on SOS or some other platform.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's an interesting point that you make as well, is that it has become this ubiquitous, all-encompassing umbrella term for this sort of link building is the HARO link. You've got to get HARO links. And I think I did a tweet the other day to say that like the vacuum cleaner isn't the Hoover. It's just the synonymous term that is related to that sort of link building. So it's important to note that inbound requests from journalists, they aren't HARO links. It was just HARO was the biggest, most well-known provider of this ability to connect with journalists. But there are still plenty of opportunities out there. Like you said, it's not something that we've relied on heavily in recent weeks and months since the demise of the quality and when they made the change. What I do think is interesting and very speculative at the minute, I haven't heard any information directly, is why they've just made the decision to shut it down.
I have no idea. People are speculating that spam issues, that it wasn't profitable. I think they're owned by a venture capital company, so I would assume that just wasn't as profitable as other things they were focusing on. Close it down, tax write-off, but I have no idea. It
is interesting. It's sad. It's sad to see it go because it's been such a part of the digital marketer, link builder, SEO sort of life, and it's now official. Well, it's not officially dead yet, but the 9th of December is the day of the funeral, or maybe the funeral's a couple of days after the day of the death. I'm not sure, but
Well, I think what's really funny is we still, to this day, have a lot of clients who come to us and they want HARO links. Mm-hmm. Or they come to us and they don't want HARO links. And we're always trying to explain to people, like, you got a link on Forbes. It doesn't matter if it came from HARO, if it came from a reactive PR campaign, if it came from Quoted, Press Plugs. Like, it's just a platform used to connect with the journalist. That's all that is. It's not a HARO link. It's a link that you built by reaching out to a journalist, and you just happen to use that platform. So I think for people who are really hung up on that term, just know that it's not its own thing. It's just a platform, and there are others like it.
Yeah. And actually, just to wrap this up, we had Peter on the show, obviously the original founder of HARO. It is worth noting that his new platform, SOS, Source of Sources, is live and well. And he actually sent out an email yesterday, so his SOS yesterday, to his list, which he said was within the first 12 hours, I think, of the decision announcement that HARO and Connectively would be disbanded on December the 12th. He had 2,000 new signups just in those first few hours. So I think there is a mass migration back to the original format, email only, thrice daily, Monday to Friday, that sort of thing. So HARO is dead. Long live HARO, maybe.
Yes. And last thing, I just want to add one more thing too. A lot of us like that. It's 2 or 3 times per day that you need to just look through the queries real quick versus like jumping on and like sorting through Connectively, because we all know it's a speed game. Like, you need to be able to reply quickly. So if you're pitching for yourself, if you're pitching on the platforms, reactive data campaigns, proactive campaigns, that's a different strategy. But if you're pitching a journalist request, you need to be able to respond quickly. If you're not going to respond quickly, it's probably not worth doing. So being able to know this email comes in every day at this time, and I'm going to set aside 30 minutes and pitch 1 or 2. I mean, that is much more effective than I'm going to look at this platform Connectively at a certain time and then seeing, here's a query that's 3 hours old, 8 hours old. It's not worth pitching at that point usually. So
that's 100%. You're able to manage your time. And I think that's why our win rates were probably high in that heyday, is because we set aside those times. They came in, then we would have them pitched at that exact time. Then, maybe we're UK based. If we had US emails coming out on the Friday, in the evening, those would just be left because, it wasn't an appropriate time to pitch. So you pick your time, you carve out those golden opportunities to set aside the time, you pitch and you try and win. But it's SOS, Source of Sources, Peter Shankman's platform. I think a lot of the journalists are going over there. I'm seeing that already. But death of HARO. It's sad to see you go, but we'll see where.
HARO, may you rest in peace.
May you rest in peace. Yeah. All right. Cheers, Nick.